This is the inside of the Bailey Unicorn Cartagena. If I firstly move to the main control panel, I can turn the 12 volt on just here. Directly beneath it we then have the main isolator for all of the onboard lights, and then all of the lights can be individually turned on and off on their own switches. Beside it we have awning light on and off, and we can view the voltage of the leisure battery just up here. Beside the main 12 volt switch we then have the switch that controls the water pump. If the rocker switch is in the middle, the water pump is turned off. If we want to feed from the aqua roll, we need to use the switch in the external position. And now if I open a tap, we will now be drawing directly from the aqua roll. And as you can see, the light comes on to let you know the pump is running. If I now close the tap again, and we now put the rocker switch up into the internal point, we will now be drawing water from the internal water tank. And again, if I now open the tap, again, whenever the internal pump is running, the light will come on. If I now come to the bench seat just here and remove the cushions, and I now just lift up, you'll see we have some storage in this area, and then here we have the internal water tank. So we can gain access inside the water tank just here, just by unscrewing the top. So if we want to clean it out, we then have the drain point for the water tank. So to drain it down for either travel or winterization, all you need to do is just turn like so, and it will then drain the water tank down. If I now put it back into the closed position, I will now show you how to actually fill up the fresh water tank from the aqua roll. So if I now just come across to this point just here, you'll see there's a lever here, and at the moment, with the lever being in the position that it's in, if you have your aqua roll filled up and then your submersible dropped into it and you turn the water pump on in the external position, it would literally come straight from the aqua roll into the boiler and then into the taps. If we want to fill up the fresh water tank, what we need to do is turn it into this position just here, and then come to the controls, literally flick it down to external, and now it is filling the fresh water tank up from the aqua roll itself. If I now just turn it back off again and then return back and put the lever back in the position that will just allow it to draw water straight from the aqua roll to the taps. Also in this area we have the surge dampener for the water pump itself. We then also have the pressure switch. So if you find the water pump in the aqua roll is massively overrunning when you close your taps, you can just slightly adjust it here, but only literally do very fine movements. Also in here we have the Aldi boiler, and to drain the boiler down for winterization, you'll see we have the boiler drain just there. So this, the yellow lever, all you need to do just flap it up like so, and it will then drain all the water out of the boiler for either travel or winterization. If you are fully winterizing the caravan, I always suggest that you then also go around and open up all the taps, because that will release any airlocks in the system and help it drain down far more efficiently. When it comes to refilling the boiler, make sure the taps are closed. Reclose the drain valve. Make sure that you've got your submersible in your aqua roll. Turn the water pump on in the external position. The pump will begin to run, and it will then begin to reprime the boiler back up again. Always make sure that you're in this position just here for repriming the boiler. If it's in the other position, obviously you will start filling the onboard water tank. Let the pump run for a few minutes, then begin opening the taps. They'll cough and splutter as they force the air out. Once the water is running both freely on hot and cold, reclose, and then the system will fully reprime itself. To control the heating and hot water system, just need to come to the Aldi control panel just here, and it turns on this button here. On initial startup, it will let you know if you are connected to mains electricity, and it will give you an internal temperature of the caravan. If I now press the menu button, it will bring up its basic functions. So at the top here we have the thermostat for the heating. Literally just plus and minus to pick whatever temperature you would like it inside the caravan, and it will drop all the way down to 5 degrees for frost protection and all the way up to 30 degrees. After that, we then have a little picture of a shower head, and this is for hot water. So currently hot water off. If I now press the plus button, hot water on, and then hot water in boost mode. Boost mode was mainly designed for if there's going to be more than one of you having showers in quick succession of each other, or if you just want hot water very quickly. If you do perform this boost and the heating's running, the heating will turn off as it needs to use the extra power. So even though now I've turned both the heating on and hot water, the system hasn't actually fired up yet because we haven't selected a power source. So if we're connected to main supply, we can run it on mains electricity, and you'll see we have a lightning strike just here, and we can run it on 1 kilowatts, 2 kilowatts, or 3 kilowatts. So this is all just dependent on the ampage of the site you're on to try and avoid tripping. If we don't have main supply, we can run the system on gas, and if we have both power sources available to us, we can also run in dual fuel mode, which is very handy, especially in the winter months, if you want to get up to temperature nice and quickly. If I now press the spanner button, it will get us into the settings menu, and this first one here is just to set the correct time and day of the week, and if you tick the show just down here, it will then show you the time and the date on the home screen. After that, we have a picture of a moon, and this is night mode, so we can turn night mode on and off just up here. Beneath that, we can set when the temperature we would like it to be for that period. We can then set when we would like night mode to begin, and whether it's for all days of the week or just individual, and then when we would like night mode to end. We can also, by highlighting this one here, invert the backlight so the writing goes to white and the screen goes to black. We can also tell the boiler that we do not want any hot water produced throughout that period, which is very handy, especially if you're wild camping, so you're not wasting gas heating hot water whilst you're asleep. Next we have a picture of a sun, and it's virtually the same again, but just for the daytime. Next we just have one single delayed start and stop to the system, so we can have it so it all fires up on Monday at 7 o'clock in the morning and then continues to run until it turns itself off on, say, Sunday at 12 in the afternoon. Prioritise is what the system prioritises in using when in that dual fuel mode. So at the moment it favours main supply over gas, so it will only use gas as it's required. If you were on a very low amp site, you can flip it on its head so it's consuming more gas and less electricity. Next we just have temperature offset for the internal thermostat. If you don't think it's quite correct, you can just slightly alter it. If I now arrow down, we just have here the brightness of the screen. This one is antimicrobial. If I put it in the on position, it will only work if you are using it in conjunction with night mode as well. And then what will happen is, in the middle of the night, the boiler will come on and heat itself up rapidly to kill off any bacteria that may be in the system. Pump settings for the heating, just literally leave it in thermal. It does not need to be in anything else. Key beeps on and off just here. Language. External start, you do have to have additional SIM boxes added if you wanted to control it via an app. These ones are not used on this particular model. Here we have service, so it's more for the workshop, but it will let you know what everything is up to. So the temperature of the heating and the temperature of the water. Factory reset, so if there is a problem with the heating or hot water, you can reset the control panel. We then have installed accessories, and in here this one, which is classed as load monitor, is very handy. Everything else you don't really need. If I now tick that and we now arrow back up, you'll see that we can actually use this one now. And if I go into it, if you know how many amps the site is that you are on, you can select it on here. So say you're on a 10 amp site. If I now ramp it up to 3 kilowatts, it doesn't matter because the load monitor will monitor it and stop basically the caravan from tripping. And because it's now an activated function, it just appears here. And if I now go back into it, I can then either put the load monitor up or back down again until it goes to off. If I now move over to the locker just here, you'll see we have the aerial for both the television and the radio. To raise the aerial, just undo the collar just here, and then you can raise the mast. This green window just here represents the back of the aerial, so you know which direction it's pointing in. Once you've got it into the position you require, just lock it back into place. The H stands for horizontal. What you can also do is basically flip the television aerial onto its side into a vertical position for additional tuning, and the way you do that is literally just by turning the tail just here until it goes red and you see V for vertical. Over here we then have the digital amplifier for the television aerial, on and off just here, and then control the boost just here. Always make sure that the Aerial is down for travel. With the stereo on and off just here on the button that says source. This is also a CD player, and you can see that you can also connect up via USB or auxiliary. It is also digital as well, and you can go for all your digital stations just on the arrows just here. If I press source, I can then go to auxiliary, FM, AM, or back to DAB. To get in the menu, just hold the menu button in, and then you can navigate it on the volume button. So if you want to change the display or the audio, and to go into anything, just press the volume button in. To get back out again, just press the little arrow just here. And then to turn the unit back off again, just hold the source button in. Underneath this bench seat just here, you will find it is literally just storage, and this can be got to from the outside as well. Microwave just here, and this will work when the caravan's connected to main supply. To use it, firstly just press the eco button. This will then turn it on, and then we have the usual quick start just here and stop, and then we have auto cook at the top, defrost, etc. just here. Always make sure that the contents are removed for travel. Directly beneath that we have the hob. So we've got the electric hot plate just here, which again will work when the caravan's connected to mains electricity, and it operates just here, and the red light comes on to let you know it's in operation. We then have the 3 gas rings, and to use these just push in, twist and press the igniter. Directly beneath that is the grill, and again just push in, twist and press the igniter. And then lastly the oven. Directly beneath the oven you will find storage, and then beside it you will find the gas isolation taps for the appliances. So we have at the top here the cooker, then we have the heating and hot water, next we have the barbecue, and then the fridge. They're all in the on position, and quite frankly they can stay like that. I always say if you do smell gas in the caravan, go to the source and turn off the gas bottle. Fridge just here. To turn the fridge on, just press it. And then if you're hooked up to main supply, to run the fridge on the mains, just highlight the little picture of the 2-pin plug. If you have no main supply, you can run the fridge on gas. Just highlight the little picture of the flame. On these particular models they will auto ignite themselves, so you don't need to do anything else. If it fails to light, it will begin to beep and you'll get a red flashing light just here. If you think it's failed to light because there may just be some air in the system, or you forgot to turn the gas bottle on, etc., to make it attempt to light itself again, just press the triangle. And then lastly, we have a little picture of a battery just here, and this is 12 volt maintain, and this is what you have the fridge on to keep the fridge cold whilst on the move. If I press it at the moment, it will beep at us because we're currently not connected to a tow vehicle. Again, it will also beep at us if we're trying to run it on mains and we have no mains connected. Next, we have the unit's anti-condensation jacket on and off. This needs to be on in the warmer months of the year. This will basically stop any condensation building up behind the unit, which would then run down the back and form a puddle beneath it. And then lastly, we have temperature control just here. Above the fridge you will find the solar panel regulator. You do not need to do anything with this, it will just smart charge the leisure battery as it's required. And then beneath the fridge you will find the consumer unit. So at the top here we have the trip switches. So we've got the 3 individual MCBs and they're all labelled up. We then have the main RCD and the test button just here. So if anything's not working on main supply, just check to see if you've tripped. And then at the bottom here we then have the 12 volt fuses, and again they're all labelled up. So if anything is not working on 12 volt, just check to see if a fuse is blown. The battery charger is actually part of this unit and it just sits across the back here, so do make sure that it is kept ventilated so it doesn't overheat. Underneath the bed you will find the freestanding table, and if I just move that out of the way for a moment, you will see that underneath here we have the location of the leisure battery. We then also have the wind point for the spare wheel. So underneath this cover there is a point, and then you literally just attach the winder and then wind it down. Also in here we have the corner steady winding handle, the wheel brace, and this is the brace that you can also use to put the motor mover on and off. We then have the control boards for the motor mover and the red isolator key point in here as well. To extend the bed, literally just pull the section out and then just drop in the infill. In the wardrobe this side you will find the header tank for the Aldi heating system. All you need to do is just make sure that the fluid level is between the minimum and the maximum. Always take your reading once the heating is up to temperature, as it will expand in the tank. If it does need topping up, you can do so yourself if you want to, just by removing the collar, unscrewing the cap on the top and then topping it up. Always make sure that you are using the correct Aldi top-up solution. As we now come into the rear of the caravan, we have the Thetford toilet just here. The bowl does swivel. To open to the cassette, just slide the grey lever across just here and then push the flush just on the top just here. level indicator just here, so it will illuminate when the cassette needs emptying, and then close back up again on the lever. If this has been left open and you try to remove the cassette from the outside, it will not come out. So if you do feel resistance, just make sure that nobody has left it open. We then have the basin just here, and then the shower cubicle. The front bed is nice and simple to make. You can either have 2 single beds, or if you want a double, just pull this section out and then just drop in the infill cushions, just like so. It is down to personal preference. Some people prefer to flip these over because they're then not quite so bumpy.